Hey fam, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Emily and I love playing with makeup and all things beauty. Today, we are going to be taking all of the most expensive products in each category from my collection and getting bougie. We are putting it all on my face and we are getting glam. So if you want to see what bougie products I picked out of my collection to get this look, keep on watching. Here we are, all zoomed in, ready to put all this expensive AF stuff on my face. We're going to start off with the eyes as per usual. And my most expensive eyeshadow primer is the MAC Paint Pot. I have it in the shade Painterly. Put that on. So I really enjoy this eye primer. I recently got the ColourPop cream shadow in, I believe, the shade Laurel, to see if it is a dupe. So I'm currently testing that out. The MAC Paint Pot is a great eye primer for doing some color correction, not a ton, but it does cover up minor discoloration. Doesn't completely blank out the eyes, but it does cover some minor discoloration. I find it sets down nicely. It goes on easily. It doesn't do weird things. So I think it's worth the money. You get a ton of product, and if you use it as an eye primer, you're not going to go through it very quick. So I do think it is worth the money. Okay, for eyeshadow, pulled out my most expensive eyeshadow palette, which is, that's right, Mama Pat, Auntie Pat, whatever you want to call her, Pat McGrath. This is Divine Rose 1. And we are going to throw this on my eyeballs. So I'm going to start out with the shade that I usually start out with, which is just this mauve shade right here. They don't have names on the inside or on the back. And start mapping out the shape on my crease and outer corner. Ooh, I got a weird floofy. So I find these shadows to be quite pigmented and they blend out really well. But of course the magic is not so much in Pat's matte shadows. The matte shadows, I think I have, ColourPop matte shadows that perform pretty well. I can't complain about their performance. It's the special shades and her shimmer shadows that really shine in more ways than one. Just gonna kind of fluff this out. We'll clean it up later. Kind of create that upward lift for my hooded downturned eyeballs. I'm going to take a bit of a fluffier brush and just sort of blend out the top edge here so I get a bit of a gradient up to the brow bone so it's not as harsh of a line. I'm going to deepen it up a bit with the brown shade that's in the bottom corner here. Pat it on lightly and build it up slowly. These shadows can be pretty intense. I'm not looking for too smoky of an eye. We are doing a bit of a smoky eye, but not too much. I find I can't really pull it off because of how small my eyes are. Too smoky of an eye makes them look really small. So now for the fun part. We are going to go in with this shade right here, which is one of the special shades, all over the lid. I'm just going to use my finger. If you can see, it's got like a gold pink shift. Very cool shade. Just gonna go over most of the lid with that. These are just so smooth. They're not sort of those heavy, thick shimmers that you can actually like feel on the lids. They're like feather light. Look at that. And then as you turn in the light, you get pink, you get gold. Super cool. And just to lighten up the inner corner, we're going to take this special shade as well. And I'm going to try it with my finger, although it might be hard to get in there. But if you check out this shade, it's white with a strong pink shift. It's not really picking up on camera. It's got like a pinky purple shift to it. I'm just going to bring that into the inner corner. Hopefully once it's on the eye, you can see more of that pink. And then I'm just going to sort of take my finger and wiggle back and forth here on the transition to sort of blend that together a bit, diffuse it into the other color. You can see that? Such a cool shade. Just going to go back into this brown and deepen up the outer corner again. Bring that dimension back to the very outer corner. We will leave the eyes there for now, and we will revisit them and finish them off once the base is done. But so far, I'm really liking the look we're pulling together. For eyeliner, my most expensive eyeliner is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Pencil. I've got the shade Demolition, which is kind of a charcoaly brown. It's not quite brown. It's got a touch of charcoal in it, and I am just going to line the waterline and tight line with it, as well as line the outer corner. Maybe do a little wing. Well, not so much a wing, more like a little triangle. So these liners are really good. They're not too creamy, but they are creamy enough that you don't have to like rub too hard on your eye. I have a couple of spots on my eye that are super sensitive, and as soon as I touch them, I blink. It's like having a sensitive tooth. I have one, like maybe a nerve ending that's too close to the surface that always reacts when I touch it. So I like how I don't have to use too much pressure for this liner. They are absolutely not even. So this liner does stay on too. It's really good for a budge proof liner, and I do find that it stays really well. Just going to clean up my outer corners here, and then we'll move on to the base. So for primer, my most expensive primer and one of my favorites is my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. So this is more like a moisturizer, but I find it primes my skin quite well, and it smells good. I know some people are kind of iffy on scented products. It has a very light sort of citrusy scent. It dissipates pretty quickly, but it's moisturizing. It provides the hydration that my skin needs. Makeup lays beautifully on top of it. It doesn't do anything special in the pore filling department, but I find it definitely keeps my makeup in place really well, and it sort of gives any foundation you have like a better chance. I think it's worth the money. I don't love the whole jar concept. I wish, like Tatcha, I wish it came with like a little scooper. For foundation, I'm going to use a combination because the foundation that I have that is the most expensive in my collection is full coverage, and I need to tone it down a little bit. It looks not the greatest on my skin, especially right now when it's still kind of winter, still kind of spring, still doesn't know what the heck it's doing outside. It's just too much for my skin, so I'm going to add another product in, but they're both expensive, so it fits the theme. So my foundation is the Charlotte Tilbury, and this one is the Airbrush Flawless Foundation, so the full coverage one. And I'm going to mix in my Auric Glow Lust, and this is in the shade Selenite. So I'm going to put like a pump of both and then apply it. And I am going to pretty well apply this with a sponge, just because I feel like I need the extra hydration from the sponge to sort of help me out with this one. That was just what was on the back of the brush I used to mix with. Now, like I've said in a previous video, generally I mix my Fourth Ray Beauty coconut face milk in with this to sort of tone it down a bit. It's affordable, so we had to go with a different one, and so I figured the Auric was the perfect choice. So we're looking pretty full coverage, but also still have that luminosity that the Glow Lust gives. So for color corrector, it's the only color corrector I have, but it's also the most expensive, and that is my Bobbi Brown color corrector. I have the shade Porcelain Peach, and I'm just going to use my finger for this because I find this product works much better with heat of my finger, and I only use a little bit. I don't have super dark circles. I've not been sleeping the best recently, but I don't have a ton cover up in the dark circle department at the moment. But I do like how this brightens up the area as well, not just color corrects, so I can use less concealer. which was a huge deal for me when I couldn't find a concealer that looked really that great on me. But now I have several that I have found in March that have worked really, really well for me. And if you want to know what those are, check out my March favorites, which I will link up in the cards. Look how much brighter that is. All right, for concealer, I'm using one of the aforementioned favorites, and this is the Smashbox, and it's called the Studio Skin Flawless 24-Hour Concealer. This concealer is the bomb. It is so, so good. Is it the most expensive concealer out there? Nope. It's actually not too bad, but it is the most expensive one I have, so I had to use it in this video, and I'm happy about that because I truly, truly love this concealer. Do some highlighting of the rest of my face, my face. The most expensive loose powder that I own is the Nakia Joy Velvet Finishing Powder. Now it says finishing powder, but this is indeed a setting powder, and a very beautiful one. It sets my makeup, it smells good, it's got skincare ingredients in it, so it's good for my skin. The fragrance is a natural fragrance, it's natural vanillin, which of course if you're allergic to that then no go, but it's just a really, really good powder. It's lightweight, and look at that. Set. Now I can't really speak to its ability to, you know, keeping the shine at bay throughout the day because I haven't been using it through a season where I've had an issue with that. I just got this last fall, so I haven't been through a summer with it just yet. But Nakia says that it keeps her shine at bay all day. So, and she says she's got oily skin. I don't. I have to trust her. So before we move on to powdering the rest of the face, I am going to use a cream contour. And my most expensive cream contour by far is my Charlotte Tilbury contour wand. This product is really good, but it is also very expensive. The dispenser is not my favorite. It's got a floof ball and you twist it to open it, and then you squeeze up some product, and then you have to make sure you twist it closed again before you put it back in your makeup bag or back in your drawer so it doesn't squirt out everywhere while you're not using it. However, I do find that once I've squeezed some out, I actually get a couple of uses out of it before I have to squeeze any more out again, so that's kind of nice. And I have had this for a fair amount of time, and I still have quite a lot of product. Part of the magic of this product is that it looks so intimidating when you first put it on, but it just blends out and just leaves sort of this shadow, like just exactly what contouring is supposed to be, creating those shadows. And it just does that. Like, I'm not bronzed, and when I look at my skin in the mirror, I don't look bronzed at all. I'll definitely need to still use a bronzer. So it is really, really good product. I really love it. I hate the price tag, and I'm not a fan of the delivery method, but I would probably repurchase it again because it really is very, very good. Okay, now that the cream contour is down, we're going to go ahead and powder. Now that everything's sort of had a chance to settle in a little bit, I can see how much powder I actually need. My most expensive under eye pressed setting powder is my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrushed. And I have the shade 1, Fair, and I'm just going to use a little bit. I'm going to check my situation here. I don't have any creasing, so that's good. Press it out just in case. And then I'm going to start on the outside and just bring whatever's left on the brush underneath. This is a really, really great way to make sure you don't get too much powder or end up looking super crepey under your eyes, is make sure you start on the outside and then work in. Because then the bulk of the powder, the bulk of anything, the bulk of your pigment, the bulk of your powder is always where you put your brush down first. And then it trails off from there. So if you start at the outside, that's where most of your powder is going to be. And when you bring it in, it's got much, much less product on it. And you're going to end up with less chance of over powdering areas where you don't want to be powdered. So now we're going to use the Nakia Joy powder all over the rest of the face. And I'm looking pretty heavy around here. I'm going to show you. We'll zoom in. So if you can see, it's looking pretty heavy around here. My pores are accentuated. I've got a couple of pores right here that are a bit bigger. And of course, because I didn't use anything pretty pore filling, they're almost like bigger. They almost look bigger with this much or this full coverage of a foundation on, but it just looks really heavy right around here. And we will see how the powder helps that. Look at that. Instantly it looks smoother right here. It's a good powder. So even though it's my most expensive loose powder, the Nakia Joy powder, it is by no means an expensive powder, I don't think. I think it is reasonably priced, especially for how much product you get. I think it's absolutely worth the price. I don't have the Laura Mercier powder. I don't have the Gucci powder or Chantecaille or any of those. So this is my most expensive loose powder. I have some drugstore powders that I've loved for a long time, and I've actually switched out for other drugstore powders. My current favorite is the e.l.f. Halo Glow and actually the She Glam Baked Glow powder. Top faves. Love them, love them, love them. So I've never really felt the need. Powder wasn't one of those sexy items I thought, oh, I'm going to try a new expensive powder. I would much rather invest my money in eyeshadows. Eyeshadows and base products, those are like my jam. I've never really branched out in the powder department. So if there's a powder, a loose powder out there, you're like, girl, you have got to try this, leave it down in the comments below. And then you'll have to subscribe to stay tuned to see if I try it out. For bronzer, I actually whipped out my Hourglass palette. This, oh God, it's gross. Jesus, that's the problem with shiny packaging. So my Hourglass palette, this is this past year's Sculpture palette. And this is the color story right here. So I am going to use, I have a different blush today. So we're just going to use the bronzer. I haven't apologized for it lately. The auto zoom on my camera is absolute shit. So I apologize if I keep going in and out of focus. Someday I'll invest in a camera with good auto zoom or autofocus. So, but do I think the Sculpture palettes are worth it? No. And I'll tell you why. So price per gram of product, it's actually more economical to get a full size of the one you really want. But if you really want all these, this is the only way you're going to get it. Just know that you're going to be paying more per gram of product than you would if you bought a full size. I mean, I really love this palette. I mean, Hourglass, I'm not currently purchasing from Hourglass, but I am using what I already have because I'm not about to waste money. I really do like it. I love the Hourglass powders. I don't feel like you need to run out and grab one of the yearly releases if you really only want one shade. That's sort of what I'm saying. If you're only interested in trying one of the products, just get a mini of one of those products or just a full size of one of those products and not invest in this unless you think you're actually going to use all the shades. If you think you will use all the shades in this, then it's a good deal. But other than that, for blush, and I know this, so I had trouble with blush. So for blush, the most expensive blush I have is my Patrick Ta blush, which I absolutely love. However, it is peach toned, which isn't going to totally go with our eye look today, but that's why I used that one color on my lid, because it does have that gold, that bit of warmth and pinkiness to it that I was hoping could tie in with this. So we are going to go ahead and throw on this blush. Before I go in with the cream side, I'm just going to pat that in to take down some of the powderiness and to help melt it into my skin before I go in with the cream side. So with this particular blush, Patrick Ta recommends that you use the powder first and then go in with the cream side over top, which seems counterintuitive because we are always told don't put creams over powders, but it works in this case. So I'm just going to use my finger. I focus this on sort of the front part. Now I usually drape my blush up, but for the cream part, I generally just focus this shade near the front. It doesn't lift my foundation. It just goes on so beautifully. It blends out with pretty much anything. When I use this cream blush on its own, I've tried it with a sponge, I've tried it with my stippling brush, always looks good. So for highlighter, I wanted to try and branch out and use something different. I know the Hourglass highlight could probably be considered my most expensive. I have the Charlotte Tilbury highlight that's in the, you know, bronzer highlight palette, but this is brand new to me and I'm really, really loving it. And it is a bit spendy. So this is my Nabla Skin Glazing, and this is the Glass Skin Finish Glow Powder in the shade Ozone. So I ordered this from Beauty Bay and I love it. Now this is an icier highlight. They have several different shades. Look at that. Skin glazing and glass skin is right. There's no glitter in it. It's not glittery. It's just this sheen. Look at that. Oh, stunning. That down the nose and the Cupid's bow. Perfection. These are really, really good. I know in the US you can get these at Ulta. It's another thing that COVID wrecked. Ulta was supposed to come to Canada this year, but now they've put it off. I'm less sad. We're gonna finish off the lower lash line, and I am gonna go in with this purple shade right here, and I'm gonna use a pencil brush for that. And then, because we didn't use this shade on the top, I'm actually going to drag it up into that shape that I created and then flick it in. That way it ties together. This shade does have a bit of a sheen to it, but it's not like shimmery. So if you don't like wearing shimmer on your lower lash line, don't worry. This isn't that. And then for the inner part of the lower lash line, we are again going to go in with this special shade that shifts, sort of pink gold. And I'm going to try and overlap them a bit right in the middle. For the inner corner, I'm actually going to use the Nabla highlight on a teeny tiny little brush. All right, we might as well put my brows on. I use my broken spoolie to comb my brows up. If you watched my video last week, my spoolie broke off the top of my brush. Not super happy about that. So for brows, I've got the Anastasia brow definer in the shade Taupe. That's the bigger wedge one, and I just have a mini size of it, but it is still the most expensive brow pencil I have. I can't get sort of precise anything with this, so I'm just going to sort of fill in the brows. We're not looking for, this is not going to help you get the big fluffy brows. And I don't love this product. I do not think this is worth it. I find this product, I don't enjoy using it. It sort of feels like chalk. I have a hard time thinking that brow products, you need to invest in brow products. Like if you can get minis to try it out, or if you really find one that you love, fine. That's totally up to you. But there are some really, really great brow products at the drugstore. My current exception for expensive brow products is two things. I have yet to find a brow gel that I like as much as some of my higher end ones, although I haven't tried some of the newer ones that have just come out because they're always sold out. And also the brow pens. So I also have not found a drugstore brow pen like the Glossier Brow Flick or the new triple benefit, you know, I forget what that one's called. I haven't found those kinds of products at the drugstore yet that I like. So then for brow gel, this is a tinted brow gel. I'm going to go in with my Glossier Boy Brow. And I don't have my glasses on, so I cannot read the shade. I think it's just brown, if I remember correctly. It's not the best shade for me, but it's what we've got. I do enjoy this product. I find it works pretty well the same as the Benefit Gimme Brow, which I also have. I find this one holds my brow hairs better than the Gimme Brow, for sure. Like, I can get that fluffiness here. I can't do that with the Gimme Brow. So I would probably repurchase the Boy Brow, but I've heard that the e.l.f. Wow Brow is very, very similar, so I have yet to try that as well. I definitely will. Yeah, I do really, really like this product. So now we're going to set the face before I put my mascara on, because of how teeny tiny my eyes are. If I set my face with my mascara on, it tends to just get all over my face, so I don't want to do that. The most expensive setting spray I have, and one of my absolute current favorites, is the Charlotte Tilbury. This is magic in a bottle. It sets my makeup. It doesn't change the finish of my makeup too much. It just gives me a little bit of a gentle luminosity. It's alcohol free, so it doesn't dry out my skin. It does have a bit of a fragrance though, if you are fragrant aversive. I don't mind the fragrance. I think it actually smells quite good, and the sprayer is lovely. It's really, really good, and I will absolutely be repurchasing. Let's spritz the face. Okay, and we'll tap that down. Those outer corners are a little intense, eh? We might need to blend them in a little bit. Of course, because we're being completely bougie today, I couldn't just stop at one setting spray. So I whipped out my Farsali Rose Gold Skin Mist. Got this in the BoxyCharm store for super cheap. Good way to try a really expensive product and not pay full price. Now this will make you dewy, so I'm only going to spray this on sort of the outer part of my face where I want that dewiness. If you have this product, don't use too much. It will make you look greasy if you use too much. But look at, like, my whole face is sheeny now. I look wet. This is an intense product, but I was so curious. I had to try it. It was on, I believe, 80% off in the BoxyCharm pop-up store. Probably take me forever to go through that bottle because it's not a product I use often. So I definitely don't think it's worth the money. I think it's ridiculous how much they charge for that. And I also think that bottle is massive, and for how little you're going to use, it's going to expire and probably go bad before anybody will go through it. If I'm wrong, like if you've gone through an entire Farsali Rose Gold Skin Mist, let me know. Like I am totally okay with admitting I'm wrong. Have no problem with that. Please let me know in the comments down below if that is your favorite setting spray. I'd love to know. For the Sephora sale, I will be doing a recommendation video. In fact, it might be up before this one. I'm definitely getting a new eyelash curler because I don't like this one. It pinches me. And I heard the Shiseido is like the one. So I think I'm going to get myself a Shiseido eyelash curler. Of course, most expensive mascara that's open right now. This is not my most expensive mascara that I have in my collection, but I have too many open right now. And I got the Pat McGrath Dark Star mascara in a kit from Sephora around Christmas time. I just can't open it right now because you that are going to be out the door here shortly, but I just couldn't bring myself to open it. So I'm just going to use my Lancome Lashy Doll. It is featured in my favorites video, and not because the formula is revolutionary. I've definitely used better mascaras that are banging on their own. This one I generally pair with a different one. This is sort of a layering mascara. I do really like it on everyday days. This is not a mascara that I would grab for if I'm going to be glam. I would grab something far more volumizing, but this separates my lashes beautifully. It does give me some length, but I love the shape. It just makes it, I end up with more lashes than I thought I had. That's what I love about this mascara. So on an everyday basis, I get nice, soft, fluffy lashes, but I get all of them because of the shape of this wand. It is just magic. Makes it look like I have twice as many lashes as I actually do. There we go. Got 2 coats on both sides. I hope you can see this. It just gave me so many more lashes than I ever have. I really, really love this mascara. Lashes done. We are moving on to lips. We're moving on. The most expensive lip liner that I currently have in my collection is, of course, the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat, and I've got the iconic nude shade. So I'm going to go ahead and line and fill in the lips. For lipstick, I actually brought down 3 because I wasn't sure what shade I wanted to use. So I'm going to swatch them out. So I've got my Pat McGrath lipsticks, and 2 of them are the Matte Trance and 1 of them is the Blitz Trance. So these are the swatches right here. So the bottom one is Skin Sane, the middle one is 1995, and the top one is Fembot. So I think I'm going to go with the Blitz Trance, which is Skin Sane. These are really, really nice lipsticks, but for bullet lipsticks, you will never ever be able to convince me that a bullet lipstick is worth $50. It's just not my thing, right? Like, some people don't think that eyeshadows are worth what they're worth, but bullet lipsticks are not one of those things where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll pay $50 for a lipstick. So I was super happy when Pat McGrath had the sale on her site where I could get all of these for like $12. So that was a bonus, and I got some to try them out. They're beautiful lipsticks. They do stay on well. Great shade range, but I can't recommend them at $50. So if you can get these on sale, they are really good lipsticks, but there are definitely similar lipsticks for a much cheaper price point. The only lip product I have that is a similar price point that I'm like, yeah, but it's so good, and probably would pay the $50 again, I'm on the fence. I said before in a previous video that I wouldn't, but they're just so good, and I think I would get a red, because red lips are hard in formulas that slip around, and the Chanel Le Rouge Duo Ultra Tenue does not budge. So if I'm going to wear a red lip, I'm already going to be a little self-conscious because it's a red lip and it's not a color I wear very often. So I want to make sure it is not going anywhere. And that formula is magical. So that's the, probably if I had to do a stretch on it, the Chanel Le Rouge Ultra Tenue is probably the one that I would say that would be worth the price tag, but still, that's still a stretch for me. But these definitely not. For my gloss, I just picked up one of my Bobbi Brown, the oil infused crushed, what are these called? Crushed oil infused gloss. And this is in the shade Force of Nature. And it's pretty much the same color as the lipstick. So these are really nice glosses, but again, that's another product that I have a really hard time paying a super high price tag for. The exception that I have actually repurchased additional shades in, which is silly because they kind of all end up looking the same, are the Fenty Gloss Bombs. I do love those. They smell good, they feel good, they come in fun colors, they're fun to pull out, they're sparkly. I do have multiple Fenty Gloss Bombs. This is the only shade I have in this, and I do really enjoy it. It's nourishing, it's super comfortable, it's not sticky, but I'm not sure I would go out and buy another shade because I have some drugstore lip glosses that I'm not a lip gloss snob, so I guess. All right, this is the final look. I think it turned out beautifully. We are pretty well full glam. We are looking ready to go out on the town. And where am I going? Absolutely nowhere, because at 12:01 tonight we go back into lockdown. So I'll be at home. Actually, I'll probably be at work. It's Easter weekend and I'm on call. It's okay. It's okay. And actually it's later at night that I'm filming this, so I'm just going to be washing it off anyway. We're going to do a quick run through of the products again. The Pat McGrath palette. So the Pat McGrath palette, do I think it's worth the price tag? Yes and no. I haven't actually ever paid full price for any of these. Pat McGrath does really excellent sales on her website. I believe she's currently, as I'm talking, having a 25% off spring sale. I want to say it's 25% off. I mean, she does great Black Friday sales. So if you can get this on a sale, if you can get one of the larger mothership palettes on a sale, then maybe. And that's if you're really into eyeshadow. Like, I'm really into eyeshadow and formulas, and that's my jam. But if it's not your jam, if you're more into bronzers, or if you're more into lipsticks or eyeliners, then maybe it's not worth it to you, and stay with a lower price point. But it's sort of a whole experience, and I love the packaging, and it's almost like a statement piece. So I love it, and I'm very happy to have it, but I don't think I would ever pay full price for one of these, especially with how often they go on sale. So the Auric Glow Lust, I absolutely think is worth the price. I love that product so much. I have used it so often since I got it that I thought initially when Sam Ravindal said that she made the cap really tight because it has so much product in it and it's going to last a really long time. I actually don't know how long this will last me because I've used it almost daily since I got it. I really love this product. It is so good. The foundation, no, I don't think this is worth the price. I have full coverage foundations that I like just as much. And I've tried a lot of foundations. That's another, other than eyeshadow, foundations is one of my things that I love trying out, and I don't think this is worth how expensive it is because I definitely have drugstore full coverage foundations that look similar on my skin and perform well. That being said, I'm very happy I have it because I'm able to use this as a great mix-in for my foundations that aren't as long wearing, because this is one of the bulletproof foundations, kind of like the Estee Lauder Double Wear, which I gotta see if I can find that one. I have that one too, and it's in the same price range, but I couldn't find it. But those two I will mix in with other foundations to make them longer wearing. Full coverage mattifying foundations are not really my jam, so for me it's not worth the price, but I'm glad I have it to use as a mix-in. We talked about the vitamin rich face base, definitely worth it. The Nakia Joy powder, definitely worth it. The Bobbi Brown Corrector, so I can't give you an opinion on this because I, again, have not really tried a whole lot of other correctors. I hear that there's one from Pixi that is really good, and so I have to compare it to some drugstore options before I say whether or not this is a magical product. Of course, I've heard really excellent things about the Becca Under Eye Corrector, but I'm not even going to go there because they're going out of business in September. The MAC Paint Pot, I love this thing. I will repurchase this unless the ColourPop one becomes absolutely my new fave. However, the shipping from ColourPop is insanely long to get to Canada, and I can get this from Sephora and have it in a couple days. So I don't know. I mean, of course, if I'm looking to save some money, then I would consider waiting for the shipping for ColourPop. But then I almost have to be already buying something from ColourPop because I'd have to pay shipping. I don't know. It's a whole thing. But I really like this product. It is very good. Smashbox Concealer. You already know how I feel about this. This is one of my favorite concealers. Absolutely recommend. Totally worth the price. Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheats. Okay. Yes. I do think these are worth the price. I often wait till there's a sale, or I wait till she bundles them with something else I'm looking to try or replenish. There's something about this formula that literally just grabs onto your lipstick and just holds it on there. This is a very long wearing lip liner. I haven't found another lip liner that is as long wearing. Have I found lip liners that perform as well with application and opacity? Absolutely. It is not unique in that regard, but it is unique in how long wearing it is. It is insanely long wearing, and she has a really great shade range, and so she is starting to bring some stuff out in minis, so maybe she'll bring out the pencils in minis, which would be great. I already told you, Anastasia brow product, I don't think it's worth the price. Charlotte Tilbury setting spray, 100% yes. Lash Idol mascara, 100% yes. I tend to buy the minis because I'm never going to go through a full size. The Nabla highlighter, I've only had it about less than a week, but I've used it a few times. I do really love it. So far, yes, I think it's worth it. I think this formula is stunning. We already talked about the Glossier. Oh, the Charlotte Tilbury powder. There are some really great dupes out there now for this powder. I do love this powder, but the Flower Beauty powder is pretty darn near close, and I've heard the number 7 powder is pretty much identical. You can't get that in Canada yet, so I haven't tried it, and the borders are still closed, so I can't even hop over the border and grab it at an Ulta or a Target or wherever they sell it down there. It is a lovely powder. I will not repurchase it though, because I find that I have other powders that work just as well that are less expensive. Hourglass powders. I have a few Hourglass powders and I do really love them. But again, like I said, I'm not purchasing from Hourglass right now. Hollywood Contour Wand. Oh, Yes, I love it. I do love it. I do have some other cream bronzers that I love just as much, but there's something magical about this sort of liquid formula, and I do really love it. And I think it is worth it. I hate saying that because it's so pricey, but I do really like it. It just gives the perfect shadow. And again, yeah, the Patrick Ta blush, you know how I feel about this. I will definitely be picking up, I want to get She's So LA in the Sephora sale. This is a great, great blush formula. And I think that is everything. I think we went through it all. Thank you so much for joining me today and watching me put on a full face of my most expensive makeup and going bougie, doing a little smoky eye and getting all glammed up. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me out so, so much, and it helps YouTube recognize that I'm actually here. That engagement really helps me get into the algorithm, and if you want to stick around, please hit the subscribe button and turn your notifications to all so that you can be notified when I upload. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay safe, be healthy, and wash your damn hands. Bye. And I'm yellow. Am I yellow? I'm yellow. And I have the shade Porcelain Peach. Couldn't read it for a minute. I'm holding this up and like, is it a mirror? No, it's not a mirror. Maybe I should actually get a mirror. It just made me look like I had... Hopefully I wasn't out of focus that entire time. Damn it, camera. That might have been a bit much. Maybe that's why I'm going through it so fast. Clean my brush off on my pants. It just squirted all over my pants. Full coverage foundation stains.